The Dallas Cowboys have never been strangers to chaos, but this past offseason felt different. Even for a franchise that practically thrives on noise, it wasn't just criticism anymore, it was a revolt. Fans calling for Jerry Jones' job, analysts questioning if the Cowboys' direction had finally run dry, and in fairness, they had every reason to. The collapse of another promising season had left Dallas fractured. A defense that once terrified opponents looked predictable. The offense couldn't find an identity, with Dak Prescott being injured and off the field a lot over the last few years. And then came the move that no one, not a single person across football, could have seen coming until the week that it happened. The Cowboys traded away Micah Parsons, and not just traded, they shipped him over to Green Bay for 2 first-round picks and a defensive tackle by the name of Kenny Clark. It sent shockwaves through every corner of the league. The league's most disruptive defender, a face of the franchise, gone overnight. For Dallas, it wasn't simply a roster move, it was an internal earthquake. In the locker room, players were blindsided, coaches were stunned. Every veteran who thought job security came with star power suddenly realized the truth. This was no longer the old Cowboys. Jerry Jones called it an organizational reset, while critics called it desperation, but it sent a message, and a very clear one at that, about direction. Nobody was bigger than the logo. No era ever lasts forever. The Cowboys were stripping the machine back down to its frame. And yet, through that chaos actually came focus, because the culture inside the building began to change. Micah's absence opened the door for leaders who'd once been quiet, guys like Kenny Clark anchoring the line, Damone Clark taking control in the middle, and Deron Bland emerging as a vocal presence in the secondary. Suddenly, what felt like a house fire looked like foundation work. When the season began, expectations weren't just tempered, they were pretty much non-existent. Dallas opened 0-1 after a tough road loss to Philadelphia, and they slogged through a tie with Green Bay a few weeks later. What we saw early wasn't the crisp, high-octane Cowboys of the old, but a work in progress. They've been trying to find their identity, and they've just been trying to adjust to life post-Parsons. The defense allowed 31 points and 400 yards, and talk shows swarmed Schottenheimer's team, but quietly behind the scenes, things began to click. The front seven tightened up, Osa Adikizua's snap count rose, and even the rookie and Shamar James started flashing as a rangy linebacker in nickel looks. By week 5 against Carolina, we were looking at a pretty balanced team, holding the Panthers to 22 points and allowing just 86 yards on the ground, and that internal cohesion carried straight into a huge game against the Washington Commanders, a game that I think everyone is going to look back on and remember at the end of the season. The Cowboys didn't just win, they dominated. The final score read 44-22, but even that didn't capture the one-sidedness of what really unfolded. Ceedee Lamb, who was returning from a high ankle sprain that had sidelined him for 3 weeks, exploded back into the lineup. Early in the first quarter, he ran a deep crossing route, waving for the ball. Dak Prescott spotted him in stride, and 74 yards later, Lamb coasted into the end zone with George Pickens celebrating alongside him. It was symbolic. The new passing duo Dallas envisioned all offseason finally has been revealing itself and its blueprint on national TV. Prescott finished 21 of 30 for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. Deron Bland added a 68-yard pick six, his second defensive score of the season. Brandon Aubrey drilled a 61-yard field goal, becoming the first kicker in NFL history with 5 field goals from at least 60 yards or more. Every phase was synchronized, from the offense attacking vertically, the defense forcing turnovers, special teams breaking records. It was all on cue. For fans who doubted Jerry Jones' front office decisions, this game felt like vindication wrapped in fireworks. But let's rewind for a second, because before that breakout, this Cowboys offense looked nothing like that. They were inconsistent, too predictable, too slow. The change really began with Brian Schottenheimer, who of course was promoted to be the head coach of this team after Mike McCarthy's departure last spring. He simplified the structure, more motion, quicker reads, heavier personal mixing, and a bigger emphasis on play action. The idea wasn't flash, it was precision. Dink and dunk efficiency, replacing hero ball, and Dak Prescott quietly starting to play his most composed football in years. Through his first 7 games, Prescott ranks 8th league-wide in passing yards with 1,881, and 3rd in touchdown to interception ratio with 16 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. He's completing over 71% of his passes, his best mark since his 2023 Pro Bowl campaign, with a 107.6 QB rating that ranks among the top 5. Even more impressive are the advanced splits that rarely make headlines. Prescott currently leads the league in EPA per play off play action among quarterbacks with 200 plus attempts. His average time to throw has dropped nearly half a second compared to last year, which is evidence of the system's timing focus, and when targeting receivers on crossers between 10 and 20 yards, he's completing 77% of his passes, the best stretch of his career. And that's important because it explains how Dallas has redefined its offensive rhythm. For years, Prescott's game revolved around isolation routes for Lamb or tight window seam throws to Jake Ferguson. Now the offense layers its progressions, motion, mismatches, and rhythm throws that turn short gains into sustained drives. And you definitely got to give credit to the cast around him. The new trio of Lamb, Pickens, and Jalen Tolbert has quietly become one of the NFL's most efficient receiving units. Each ranks top 20 in yards per route among NFC receivers with 30-plus targets. Meanwhile, Jake Ferguson has evolved into more than just a safety valve. He's a real weapon in the red zone, hauling in 4 touchdowns on play-action boots through Week 7. The running game still remains a work in progress. Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue split work after Miles Sanders went on the injury reserve early in the year. Their combined 4.1 yards per carry won't blow anyone away, but they've been okay. Both have over 85 pass block snaps without allowing a sack, the best rate in the NFC East. That steadiness has been vital in keeping Prescott upright behind an offensive line anchored by Tyler Smith and Terrence Steele. Now to switch gears, defensively, Matt Eberflus has done more with less. Gone are the splash plays of the Parsons era, and in the place of that is stifling third down execution and rotational discipline. Kenny Clark's arrival from Green Bay has really stabilized the interior. He leads the entire unit with 13 pressures despite missing part of Week 7 with an elbow issue, and Osa Odigizua and Sam Williams each have 3 sacks, and the veteran Dante Fowler has rotated seamlessly as an edge rusher opposite of Williams. The secondary that once was an eyesore after Diggs was injured just a year ago has really flourished. Deron Bland's been great. He had that interception. Lee Hooker and Donovan Wilson have been interchangeable in deep shells. And Khair Lam, which was a summer pickup, he's emerged as a stabilizing presence in press man coverage. So through 7 weeks, the Cowboys currently sit at 3-3-1. It's not a record that grabs headlines, but the underlying metrics say something else entirely different. They rank 3rd in offensive yards per play at 6.2, 2nd in third down efficiency at 48%, and top 5 in points per drive since Week 4. And that balanced production, a phrase rarely used in Dallas since the Tony Romo era, shows how far they've come from the offseason chaos. The chemistry really was on full display against Washington. After Brandon Aubrey's 47-yard field goal that put Dallas ahead 10-8 early, the Cowboys never looked back. Prescott completed passes to 7 different receivers, Jake Ferguson caught a 12-yard touchdown on a designed rollout, and Ceedee Lamb put up his first 100-yard game of the year. Even the rookie linebacker and Shamar James made his mark, as I kind of talked about earlier, forcing a fumble that Clark recovered in the 3rd quarter to set up another score. And Ceedee Lamb added to his 100-yard game total with another one, and even the rookie linebacker and Shamar James, who I talked about, made his mark, forcing a fumble that Clark recovered in the 3rd quarter to set up another score. And by the time the 4th quarter started, the Commanders just looked out of answers. Jaden Daniels had left the game with a hamstring injury, and Marcus Mariota couldn't move the ball past midfield. Every Cowboys drive felt methodical, different from the boom or bust offenses of years past. Instead of leaning on miracles, this team leaned on mechanics. So say what you want about Jerry Jones, his ego, his missteps, his endless quotes, but this time he really has created a spark and something productive out on the field. Again, it's not perfect. There is a long way to go, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I think this team is way better than their 3-3 record shows. That's really all I got for this video, though. Let me know in the comments below how you're feeling about this team, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly means the world. And until next time, I will see you all later.